Hi class. I wanted to make this video on access to hopefully help you out with the capstone exercise for chapter 1. In the hands-on exercises, it talks about creating a new table, but it's in hands-on exercise 4, and I really don't want you to do hands-on exercise 4 because it talks about working with templates, which we're not going to do here in this capstone. So I just wanted to clarify how you create a new table in Access, as that is the first thing you're going to have to do in the capstone when you start the capstone on page 674. Step B says to create a new table in Design View. So let me show you how you do that, and then the rest of the exercise you should be okay with as long as you did all of the hands-on exercises in the chapter. To create a new table, you simply hit the Create tab and then click on Table. And you'll notice that it opens it up in Datasheet View. And you'll see Datasheet down in the lower left-hand corner of your screen in the Access status bar. We're going to work on this in Design View. So to get into Design View, I'm just going to click the View. And then it comes back and says, hey, before you can change views, you've got to save this. And they want us to call this table Publishers. So I'll do that. And then you'll notice it puts you into Design View, and you'll see Design View in the lower left-hand corner of your screen. We're then going to create these fields in this table. And the very first field they want called Pub ID. It says to change the primary key from ID to Pub ID. So the primary key is defined with that little gold key there, so we know that's the primary key, but we're going to change the name of the field to Pub ID. It also wants it to be a short text, not an auto number, so I'm going to change it to short text. The second field in our table is called Pub Name. And that's a short text. Then Pub Address, and that's a short text. Pub City, short text. Pub State, short text. And finally Pub Zip, short text. So now we've created the format, basically the structure of our table. It has no data in it. We're going to do that next. So let's close this down, and I'm going to close it down by hitting this little X here and you can see Close Publishers. It asks if we want to save it because we've made changes to the structure of the table. We'll save it. And now if we come over here and double click Publishers in the Access Objects, it now opens it up in Datasheet View, which is where you can enter data, just like in Excel. And you'll see in step C of the capstone, it wants us to populate it with those 6 records. And I'll just start the first record. It's BB, tab over, Bantam, Books, and I spelled Bantam wrong. Let me make that correction. And the pub address, so forth and so on. So basically, you're going to create these 6 records. When you get to the end of this record and you hit tab, it'll open up another blank line, and you can then add FS for Farah, Strauss, and Garot, and so forth and so on until you're totally done entering all 6 records. And then you can X back out of it again, and you'll notice it didn't ask to save because we didn't make any structure changes to the table. We were only adding data. And as they discussed in the chapter, in the hands-on exercises, Access does not work in memory like Word and Excel do in PowerPoint. It works in working storage, meaning when you enter a record in, immediately it updates the database. That's called working storage. That's why you cannot do undos in Access. you can only do one undo, where in Word, PowerPoint, and Excel you can do undos until you get back to the beginning of the document. I hope you found this helpful, and if you have any questions on the Capstone, please let me know. Thank you.